everyone, and welcome to the answers to this week's Paraphrasing Feedback Challenge. So the challenge was to write paraphrase for the following question. Some people feel that the equality between the genders has already been achieved, while others feel there is considerable progress to be made. And this comes from a discussion essay. It's a very typical discussion essay question. So the first thing I would do if I was trying to paraphrase this is think about how I'm going to change sentence structure. So we've got two clauses here. So possibly putting this clause first and then putting this clause second would be something I would think about. At the moment, it's a complex sentence. We could change it into two separate sentences. Would be a way of dealing with this. So let's have a look at how our students have done. So we have got 9 paraphrases to look at. I had a look at them earlier. Most of them are actually pretty good. So well done to everyone who participated. Let's go over this. So here we've got certain individuals. So this is a really good synonym for some people. Please remember this one. Feel that there is still some considerable amount of progress to be made on gender equality. Okay, so here this person has done exactly what I said. So they said the others feel that there is considerable progress to be made. So they've put the second idea first. And they said, well, others feel that it has already been achieved. So they put that there. They kept it all in one sentence, which is absolutely fine. The vocabulary and the grammar is really accurate. So to whoever wrote this, really good paraphrase, good job. You're thinking in the right way. You're thinking about sentence structure first, then mixing up language. So really good job to this person. Right, on to the next one. It says, it is argued that some people feel. Be really careful. I see so many people start their paraphrases with it is argued that. So it is not argued that some people feel. Some people do feel. This is a statement of fact. Some people feel. So I can't put it is argued that. You could maybe say it is argued that, let's see, achieving gender equality. So we wouldn't say achieving a gender equality has been done. So you could maybe put this. It is argued that gender equality has already been achieved. So this would make sense. While others feel that considerable progress not should be made, but still needs to be made. So others feel that considerable progress needs to be made. And then something that's going to jump out at an examiner is a lack of a full stop. These things are really, really important. Now, the only problem with this is it's very, very similar to our original. So again, an easy way of fixing this is just switching this around. So it is argued that considerable progress needs to be made on gender equality, while others feel that it has already been achieved. So that would be a way of maybe mixing this up a bit more. So let's move on to our next one. Some believe that gender equality requires more progression. So more progression, just taking a risk of vocabulary here, this doesn't really work. So maybe more work. Whereas other things that it has already been accomplished. Then it has already been accomplished. Okay, so apart from that, okay, just this word progression was a little bit awkward. So make sure you're only using words, expressions you're 100% sure of. Have a look at our next one. So certain individuals believe that gender equality has already been achieved. Okay, so that's moving around. We haven't switched them around, but the meaning is the same. Whereas some people feel that in order to achieve gender equality, so in order to, if you're starting with this is like a dependent clause. So in order to achieve gender equality, we need a comma. We can't count progress here. There's just significance. Progress still has to be made. that would work. On to our next one. Certain individuals believe that gender equality has already been achieved. However, others argue that a considerable amount of progress needs to be made. And again, we need a full stop at the end here. If we have this word however, and this is separating two independent clauses. So we've got independent clause here, independent clause here. So however is a subordinate conjunction. When you use a subordinate conjunction like however or therefore to separate two independent clauses, we use semicolon, subordinate clause, comma. Or you could just use full stop, subordinate conjunction, comma. So both of these would work. Apart from that, the rest of this was really nice. So just a little bit of punctuation that this person needs to work on. So well done. Here, a number of people believe that more efforts are still needed to achieve genders equality. So genders equality is an expression. Gender equality is a compound noun. So it's just written like this. A number of people believe that more efforts are still needed to achieve gender equality. Okay. Obviously, this objective has already, we say, been attained because this is passive voice. The objective is your object, but we don't know who's doing the, we don't know the subject, so we're using this in the passive voice. The reason I'm hesitating here, I'm just looking at this expression. People believe more efforts are needed. This is a really awkward expression. Here, I think we could just say more. A number of people believe more work is still needed to achieve gender equality. Effort is one of those words that's very, very rarely actually used as a countable noun. So if you're putting efforts in your writing, it's very unlikely that it's being used correctly because it's 99% of the time used as an uncountable noun. But apart from that, still pretty good paraphrases. I'm really impressed with these paraphrases so far. Great job to everyone who's participating. And then our final three, let's have a look. Some individuals believe that gender equality has already been achieved. So that's changed. Okay. While others feel that progress is yet to be attained. So this is not saying that this is a little, this is where you get in trouble. So this says no progress has been made. But the question says more progress needs to be made. So there is a difference between this. There's nowhere in the question saying no progress has been made. It's just saying that a lot more progress needs to be made. So at the moment, the meaning is different. So others feel that not more progress needs to be attained. Okay. So make sure that the meaning is exactly the same. Don't make assumptions when you're writing paraphrases. Okay, it's always got to have exactly the same meaning. Also, make sure there's no space before commas or full stops in your writing. Okay, let's move on to the next one. A number of people. Also, a nice way of finding a synonym for some. So a number of, some, or certain people, certain individuals. These are all really good paraphrases. A number of people believe that the achievement of egalitarian gender. Okay, so I'm going to chuckle here because this student is trying to use really fancy language and it's really hurt them. Don't use fancy language in your writing. Your examiner is going to look up towards the sky, and especially in your paraphrases. If I saw this in the paraphrase, I'm guessing the rest of the essay is going to be filled with words like this, but I'm pretty sure that the student doesn't understand. It's going to be incredibly difficult for me to read. Stop using overly complex language. Start using words and expressions that you understand. So a number of people believe that the achievement of gender has been done. So again, this doesn't work. So our object here is gender equality. So So a number of people believe that gender equality has already been achieved. Not a good word here. Achieved, whereas other individuals think that a significant improvement should be taken. Again, so this person, their number one problem is their vocabulary. They're trying to use lots of words that they're not really sure of. Whereas other individuals think that more improvements should be. So an improvement can't be taken, should be made. So this would now have the same meaning. A number of people believe that gender equality has already been achieved, okay? Whereas other individuals think that more improvement should be made. So whoever this is, keep it simple. Stop trying to be overly complex in your writing, okay? Use words, expressions you're 100% sure of. Remember, if you start taking massive risks with your paraphrase, you could find that after your very first sentence, your vocabulary, your grammar, and your coherence cohesion are not going to be over about 6 because of just your very first sentence, because you're trying to be overly complex. And that would be the case with this particular paraphrase. Okay, now our final one, it is argued that sexual equality is a significant development to be achieved. So again, this is a significant development to be achieved. It's really awkward language. So it argues that sexual equality. So I like this as a paraphrase here. Requires more work. No, others say that it hasn't been reached. Okay, that works. So really the main issue here for most of these that had issues were generally just people taking too many risks with their vocabulary. Keep it simple. As I said, when looking at a paraphrase, the first thing you want to be thinking about, how can I change the sentence structure? So especially these paraphrases from discussion essays, you're going to have 2 points of view. The first thing to do, switch them around. It's super easy. You've changed your sentence structure and then start changing the words around. Okay, so I really like this very first one. I thought did this incredibly well. So have a look at that as a sample paraphrase. But most of them, I've corrected all of them, so they are now all acceptable paraphrases. Be careful with this expression. It is argued that. Only use it when it's talking about an argument. Don't use it to argue a fact, because so you cannot start every single paraphrase with this expression. And I know a lot of students do, so please don't fall into that trap. Okay, so those were the corrections for these paraphrases. I hope you guys found it useful. As always, keep it simple. Don't try to go too far, to push yourself too much. Remember, accuracy is the key. Your paraphrase is the very first sentence an examiner sees. Don't make them look at it and go, help, I'm about to encounter loads and loads of overly complex, difficult language, because it doesn't put them in a good mood for the rest of your essay. Keep it simple, keep it accurate. If your work was reviewed, do me a favor, hit the like button. That's all I ask in exchange for doing this work for you. Please share this with anyone you think it might help. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, to make sure that you don't miss out on any future content. Have a great day and good luck in your studies.